Welcome back to Speducation. I am your host, Brandon Reed, and as always, if this is your first time to the channel, a special welcome to you. Well, we have a new week and we have a new lesson. So, what are we going to be learning about this week? Today's lesson, service minutes. So, one of the reasons that I created this channel was to answer some questions that parents might have about special education. And although I really haven't had any questions posted in the comments or any comments really, that's okay because in the number of years that I've been a special ed teacher, I've been asked a lot of questions. And one of them was from a parent about service minutes. Her question was, I see that on my student's IEP, on my son's IEP, that it says that they receive 30 minutes of service minutes a week. Is that it? Does that mean after 30 minutes that they're done? They don't get any more help? Well, that's actually a good question, and we're going to get into it. But before we do, first, we need to talk about what service minutes are. What are service minutes? Well, they describe how much time a student should be getting on their specific skills that need to be addressed. Sometimes students have a significant amount of service minutes in their IEPs, and other times the service minutes are limited. Service minutes can be broken down into four categories. Annual service minutes that are provided over the course of a school year. Quarterly service minutes that are provided over the period of a quarter, such as 9 weeks. Monthly service minutes that are provided over the course of a month, and then weekly service minutes that are provided over the course of a week. Now, the amount of service minutes that is provided to a student is really based upon the student's specific needs. Some students may need more services than others. For example, if you have a student that is in a life skills program in a self-contained classroom and they're getting a lot of one-on-one support, then their service minutes are probably going to be a lot more. Whereas if you have a student that is on consultative services and only gets pulled for tutoring maybe once or twice a week, then their service minutes are probably going to be pretty low. Again, it depends on the specific student. That's why it's called an IEP, an individualized education program. And the amount of service minutes are also determined by the school or how those service minutes are ranked up. So some schools may decide that they want all of their special ed teachers to provide monthly service minutes. Some may provide annual. Some they say, well, just quarterly or weekly. It really depends on the school itself. And there are benefits and drawbacks to each type of service minutes. And although I could go into that, I'm not going to. But if you want to learn more about that, feel free to drop a line in the comments section and I'll talk about some of the drawbacks and benefits. So now to the question at hand. Why does the service minutes for my child only say 30 minutes a week? Does that mean he doesn't get help after that? Well, no. And you may see service minutes written in IEPs like this. Staff will provide weekly check-ins with student in the general ed setting to assist with progress on IEP goals once per week for 20 minutes. Student will receive academic support from staff in the general ed setting for deficits related to mathematical functions once per week for 30 minutes. These are just some examples. But if you see this on an IEP, it doesn't mean that they only get 20 or 30 minutes. So it's best practice for special ed teachers to put the bare minimum of service minutes. And the reason why is because well, we're not psychic. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So, for instance, if a student receives 30 minutes of service minutes a week and the teacher meets with that student on Monday, and then something, oh, I don't know, something that would never happen, like a global pandemic were to hit, and schools are shut down for the rest of the week, the teacher is still meeting that student's needs based upon the IEP, which states 30 minutes. So that's why we always err on the side of caution. Now, it doesn't mean that the student, once he receives 30 minutes, he's done. No. A lot of my students on my caseload have 15 minutes per week, 20 minutes per week, 40 minutes per week, but I actually meet with them a lot more. In some cases, I meet with them 3, 4 hours a week. But the 30 minutes or the 20 minutes or the 40 minutes, that's the bare minimum. That's the least amount of time that a student with special needs can receive service minutes. And service minutes for speech and occupational therapy are different as well. Speech and occupational therapists will write out their own service minutes, so their times may be written as monthly or quarterly and may not be the same as that of the school corporation or the special ed teacher. And the reason for this is a couple of reasons, but the main one is because it depends on the student's specific needs. It also depends on the speech and occupational therapist availability and how often the student will need these services. So hopefully that answers some of your questions about service minutes. So again, if you have any other questions about it or you want me to elaborate on anything, please drop a line in the comments section and I would love to hear from you. And if you liked what you saw today, you learned something new, or you're new to the channel, please click that like button. And if you want updates on future videos, feel free to click the subscribe button and ring the bell for updates on future videos. And I have a special announcement. Well, next week, there will not be a video. Why? Well, because Christmas vacation. That's right, the holidays are coming. And whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, whatever the holiday it is that you're celebrating, happy holidays to you. But we won't be putting out any new videos, at least for the next coming weeks. But don't worry, we will be back in January. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't put out any more videos in general. There might be some holiday activities that I think that you and your family could benefit from. So keep an eye out. But in terms of special education or students' math corner videos, you're going to have to wait until January. So until next time, class dismissed.